Hi there, I'm Rachel Gregg, and this year I'll be using a Dylusions Dyalog insert book for my December journal. So what I've done with these insert book is I've actually trimmed out some of the pages to create some curved pages and then some little tip-in pages to actually create it into a 31-day page journal. Now, if you'd like to see how I did that, I have a video previous to this one which will show you how I cut those pages and the formula that I used. So it now has 31 days or 31 double page spreads. Now this is what I class as a double page spread, which is this one, and then a nice little tip in, and then of course this side, which will belong to this page here as well. So because I like to do the whole of December for my December daily journal, I wanted to make it into a 31 page journal, and just by trimming out some of those pieces and then adding them in between some other pages, it then turns it into 31 days. So I have this all set up. This is like I said before, a Dylusions insert book. This is the grid number 2 book. So it has a nice little green flowery cover, which I thought would be nice for this time of year, which will include Christmas. So it has that nice sort of, greenery festive look about it. So in this video, what I want to show you is how I'm going to start some foundation pages for this and just start decorating some of the pages. Now this year, I won't be releasing a video for every single page, but I will do videos as I can to show you how I'm decorating some of these pages as I go throughout the month. So to start off with, I just want to add some distress ink to some of these pages. I'm just using fired brick and peeled paint, and I'm just smushing some of it onto a non-stick craft sheet and using some water. Just going to spritz some of that water into this ink. So you just want enough water so it starts reacting with that ink. And then, depending on if you know what page you want to do these colors on, but I don't, I'm just going to be very random. And then just tip the book into that, smush it around, and then you'll see here you've got some color. So I might go a little bit on the other page there, just so we've got some top left and top bottom. And I'm just going to tap it in. I don't want to cover the entire page because I want to still allow some room for, so when I do the writing or whatever else I do for decorating. So just tapping off any excess. So you can see there now how I've got some ink left and right on both of those pages. But I'm going to go ahead and just add, I'll dry this off and then add some more ink, not to every page, but just to some other pages. So while I have the inks out, it just makes it nice and fast and gets a few pages done. Okay, so I've added some ink to several of the pages, and you can see here how it's gone through, because I was putting it into the wet ink. It's gone through to some of the other pages, and I love how it's done that because it's also just added a little hint of those red and green colors to some of the other pages. So don't worry if when you do it, it does the same thing. That's just decorating more pages more quickly. So I've done quite a lot of the distress ink. I'll still probably do more throughout December, but that's just given me a good start. But now I want to add some painted pages, so I'll use some paint to decorate some of the pages now. So I'm using some Dylusions paint. I've picked out 3 colors, just 3 green colors, just to keep it nice in the same color family. Okay, so I don't want it to go over on all of the pages, so I'm just going to add in some little background pieces here. Little protectors. I'm just using a craft squeegee and just scraping the paint on. And again, I don't want to cover the entire page just with this one color. And I like having all of those little bits and pieces. See how random that is with the paint. I don't want it to be perfect. But I do want to scrape off this scraper here. I'll just scrape off some excess there. So then I'll just dip in lightly with the next colour. We don't need a lot of paint at all. I'm just layering up these colours, starting with the darkest first as the under colour, and then just layering on top using this Dylusions Dirty Martini. And once this paint dries, it's good doing this ahead of time because you can't write on top of paint, or it's best not to write on top of paint when it's quite fresh. So these will dry, and then by the time I get up to this page in December, it'll be ready for me to write on and decorate over the top. So that's why it's always nice doing all of this ahead of time. And again, you don't have to be very precise. It's nice just having this little painterly look. Okay, so I've left some little open areas. Again, when I get to this page in December, I don't quite know how I'll decorate it, but this just gives me a nice little starting point to start off with, and it's great to add lettering over the top, your journaling. You could add photos or any other type of mixed media, but that's a really nice background to start with. So I'm going to go ahead while I have these paints out and do a few other pages in other areas of the journal. So then it keeps the journal nice and consistent while keeping it a little bit different because they won't be right next to one another with those colours. And with the greens for this journal, I'm just going to stick with these three same colours. So then it keeps it consistent, but I'm going to alternate how I add them to the journal. So for this one here, I'm just going to use the Mushy Peas and a little bit of the polished Jade, and then keep it so it's just got those two colours, and then just mix it up with different variations within those three. And then some of the other pages, because I'd like to still keep the book fairly festive, I'll do some reds and some warm colours as well. Sometimes I'll mix it in together, but generally I'll just keep to a limited colour palette for the journal. Okay, so I've left that. That's a nice little page there, just allows a little bit of journaling on the inside there, and then I'll add some other decoration, whether I do some stamping or something over the top on the sides. So you can see how your backgrounds can be, very random and nice and painterly, and, just makes a nice little start to those pages. So I've done a few pages here with the paint and the ink, and so now you can see here how I've got a few pages here all inked up and painted in the backgrounds, ready to go. Now, not every page, you can see here how I don't have much on some of the other pages, but that's okay. I'm just going to fill those as I go through December, but the good thing is it's a nice little starting point, and it makes me feel like I've done a nice little prep here for December, and it's not like I'm going into a blank journal. So, and I've definitely done day one to start with to kick off December, and then as I go ahead and decorate, when I decorate this page here, I'll use those supplies to go ahead and decorate some of these other ones throughout December. So what I want to do now, though, is do my little title page here. As you can see, I've still got paint on some of my hands from doing all of this, but I would just want to go ahead and do this, so then that is nicely done for the beginning of December. So then I'm ready to start the journal. And I'll just start here with some of that Mushy Peas paint. I just want to have a bit of colour in the background. So I'm just swiping over on the thing. Now my squeegee's got a little bit of Sedona paint as well. That's a Dina Wakley colour. So it's bringing in some of those colours as well, which I don't mind one bit. And I've actually still got a little bit of Sedona left here on a palette, so I might just pick up a little bit of that. Let's make it real festive for our opening page. When the squeegees run out of paint, that's when you get these really nice random marks as well. So it's only just picking up a little bit of that paint. Okay, I just want to add a little bit more Mushy Peas over the top here. Tone down some of that red, but you just want it there in the background. Okay, so now we've got a nice little painted background, and I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'll be stamping over the top. So I've done the background here. What I'm deciding to do is I'm going to stamp out the title on this page here. Now it doesn't have anything underneath, but that's okay. I just want to leave that plain. I'll just stamp over the top of that, and then I'll use something to decorate this page as well. So I'm going to use the sketched alphabet stamp set that I designed for Darkroom Door for my title page. So I'm just going to stamp out December Daily. I'll just use the DEC to begin with. And I'll just use Archival ink. This is a jet black Archival ink. It's a permanent ink, so it means I can colour inside of it. So I'm going to do December Daily 2021. And then we have the sketch numbers stamp set, which is the same drawing as the sketched alphabet, and means now we can add our 2021. So I'm going to colour in these little letters here. I just want to use a little watercolour or water wash. So I'm just using these distress inks that we used previously on those other pages, and just picking up a little bit of that ink and then using it to colour in each letter. And by using it as a watercolour, using distress ink as a watercolour, again, it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just going to alternate the colours, so I'll just skip a colour and just colouring in these little letters nice and lightly. And you could use any type of marker or paint to colour in these letters here. Pencils, crayons, anything that you've got in your craft stash already. I'm just going to alternate here, so I'll start this one with the fired brick. And again, I'm not being too precise here with the letters or the colouring in of the letters. These letters, these were hand-drawn. I hand-drew them to design the stamp set. They were intended so they weren't perfectly drawn out. You can see how they're just sketchy, which is why we call them sketched alphabet and sketched numbers. And they're really easy here to colour in, as you can see. It just gives a nice little hand-drawn look to your journals as well. Okay, so I've done that little fired brick. I'm just going to squeeze out the water of this water brush here just so it doesn't have any of that red left, and then now I'll go in and pick up this green colour. Well, I need to make sure that I had everything else dry beforehand. I might just give that a quick dry with a heat tool just to make sure that that's all dry. Okay, and now I'll go in with the peeled paint. And even though I'm using green and red, of course you could use any different colour that you wish, that you want to do for your journal. It's funny, in my journal I've just been getting messier and messier lately, just letting things go as they are, just doing little watercolour washes and inks and paints and various things, and just keeping it really random and just adding things as I go through my journals, not really pre-planning too much. So this is why I quite like this little title page here. It's just a nice little handwritten intro, and it goes really nicely with that paint. So now I want to add something here to this page as a decorative feature, because I'll be starting the day one on this one here. And so what I have here is my little pencil case here full of Christmas bits. Okay, so this is just a pencil case that I keep full of leftover Christmas bits and pieces that I've done from previous projects. So there's just little stamped bits. That's nice and glittery. From another piece, there's other bits and pieces, another stamped bit here. There's little tags. So it's a good idea if when you are making Christmas things, if you're just keep together bits and pieces. I always test out Darkroom Door stamps when I get them for the first time and stamp out the whole plate. So that's those, and they can be torn up into different sentiments like that. So I've got a whole stack of little bits and pieces, and here's some little tinier bits as well. So that's a nice little piece. This is actually looks like a card front that I never really turned into a card, so that might actually work quite nicely, which it does. 'Tis the season to be jolly. So I think I'll just stick that on there for my little title page for my December daily journal, and then it'll be ready then to fill up for the rest of the month. So I'll just get some adhesive and we'll stick that down. So I've stuck this down onto that page here. I've still got some ink left over here on my little craft mat here, so I'm just going to pick some up. I want to make a little underline wash for these just so it's got something for them to sit on. So just picking up some of that ink, just making a little base for all of these little words here. And again, you don't want to be too concerned about how perfect it is. It's one of the things I love about watercolour. So the stamps I've used to create this little piece here are actually from the Yuletide Volume 2 stamp set. So I thought I'd just grab the little pine leaf stamp here and just add a little bit of stamping just around the edge of this page here, just to tie it all together a bit more. Okay, so I'll just grab this little pine leaf and I'll use the Archival Fern Green ink pad because I just want it to be subtle. I don't want it to be black or anything. I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping just to a few places. Whoops, that's lumpy from the other page. Now if you stamp it 2 times without re-inking, you'll get that really nice shadow look. So I'll do that a couple of times there just to give it a nice shading. And which way do we want it? This way. And then just a little bit down the side here. Again, my block here is not connecting with that little part there because it's going over the block. So I just need to put that a little bit more forward. There we go, that's better. And I'll just do a little bit of shadow inking here. Okay, so that's just given a nice little border to that, and then I'll just add a couple up here. Now my book is a little bit lumpy because I've got those different pages, so you've just got to press hard and just rock the stamp a little bit, not too much because then you'll get a double stamped image. Okay, that looks nice, and then we'll do a little bit down the bottom. Okay, so just stamping again just to get that shadow look. Stamping on the edge there. And the good thing about using Archival ink is it will dry over the top of this painted background. So you've got no issue there. All right, lovely. So that has completed my little title page here. It's given it a nice little greenery festive look with all those little festive colours, and it's a nice little start to my journal. The rest of my pages have been started here with all of that inking, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start journaling for December Daily 2021. If you'd like to see how I decorate all of the pages, then feel free to subscribe to my channel and I will share some pages as I go throughout the month. Thanks so much for watching.